Here are 10 phrases to learn before your IELTS speaking test. Number 1 is used to. In the IELTS test, you often get asked questions like, when you were a child, did you like to play computer games? And how did you get to school when you were younger? These questions are asking about the past. So you can say something like, I used to play a lot of video games, but nowadays I don't have enough time. Or, when I was a child, I used to walk to school with my sister. So we use used to describe something that was true in the past, but is not true now. I used to play a lot of video games, but nowadays I don't have enough time. Listen to the pronunciation, used to. The D sound disappears. I used to live in England, but now I live in Scotland. Now remember, when you use the negative, you do actually delete the D. So, I didn't used to wake up early. Not I didn't used to, it's I didn't used to. No D. Number 2 is the main reason is. IELTS examiners love to ask why. Why do some people like to play video games? Why do people go to the gym? Why do people spend a lot of money on designer clothes? Why? You can say, the main reason is. So, the main reason that people like to play video games is that they are thrilling and addictive. Or, the main reason we go to the gym is that it keeps us looking and feeling good. In fact, when you get asked one of these questions, these why questions that is, I recommend that you don't try to come up with lots of ideas. Instead, what you can do is to come up with 1 or 2 main ideas and then develop these ideas fully, perhaps with examples. Number 3 is to be honest. To be honest is a great addition to I think or I believe. You can say things like, to be honest, I think that technology has greatly improved our lives. Or, to be honest, I believe that AI will replace a lot of our jobs. We often say, to be honest, when we think what we're saying is surprising to the listener. For example, to be honest, I wasn't great at languages when I was growing up. You'd think I was because I'm now a language teacher, but to be honest, I wasn't. Or, to be honest, I'm actually pretty shy. Repeat after me. To be honest. To be honest. Number 4 is generally speaking. We use generally speaking when we want to express what most people think or feel about something. You can say things like, generally speaking, people are becoming more health conscious these days. Or, generally speaking, people who spend a lot of money on clothes care a lot about their appearance. A good idea is to contrast this with another statement. You can say things like, generally speaking, people find commuting to be stressful, but I enjoy the time as I like to listen to podcasts when I'm driving to work. Number 5 is, I'm not entirely sure. This is a great phrase to use for those tricky questions that you don't know the answer to. So if the examiner asks you, what are some popular jobs in your country? You can say, I'm not entirely sure. Probably jobs in IT, like being a software engineer. Listen to the pronunciation. I'm not entirely sure. Notice the way I slow down on the word entirely. I'm not entirely sure. Number 6 is, it depends. This is such a useful phrase in IELTS. In the speaking test, you're always getting asked weird, generalized questions like, do people spend a lot of money on weddings in your country? Or, do children in your country like going to school? You can say things like, it depends on whether people are wealthy enough to spend a lot of money on their wedding. In fact, you can use it depends with phrases like generally speaking. So you can say, generally speaking, people in my country spend a lot of money on weddings, but it really depends on how wealthy the couple are. Number 7 is, I'm not a huge fan of. If you're a huge fan of something, it means you love it. I'm a huge fan of walking along the beach, and I'm a huge fan of long road trips. However, we often use the negative of this phrase, I'm not a huge fan of. It means that you don't really like something. For example, I'm not a huge fan of flying, meaning I don't like to take an airplane. Or, to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of desserts after dinner, meaning I don't like to eat sweet things after dinner. That's true. Number 8 is, I've always been interested in. You can say things like, I've always been interested in learning foreign languages. Or, I've always been interested in visiting Canada, but I've never had the chance. I've always been interested in. Listen to the pronunciation. It's not been, it's been. I've always been interested in politics. I've always been interested in space. Number 9 is I'd say. I'd say is I would say. When we're speaking, we often contract I would say to I'd say. I'd say is like I think. We use it to introduce our opinion. So what's the difference between I think and I would say? Well, we use I'd say when we want to emphasize that not everyone has the same opinion, but it's what we think. I'd say that it's important to live abroad at some point in your life. When I use I'd say in this sentence, I'm showing that I understand that not everyone believes this, but it's what I believe. Listen to the pronunciation. I'd say. I'd say. Repeat after me. I'd say that reading books is better than watching films. I'd say learning a foreign language is the best possible thing you can do. Notice that sometimes we say I'd say and other times we say I'd say that. They're interchangeable. Number 10 is the short answer is. This is such a brilliant phrase to use. It allows you to introduce your opinion and then expand on it. So if the examiner asks something like, did you like school when you were a child? You could say, the short answer is yes. However, there were some teachers that I didn't like. Or if the examiner asks, do you like waking up in the morning? You can say, the short answer is no, but I do like to wake up early if I'm going on a holiday or I have some other special event. Now, here's a little challenge for you. See if you can translate these 10 essential phrases into your first language and put them below. Best of luck with your studies and I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye then.